Welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Okay, so today we're tackling something really fascinating. We got this fantastic question, a prompt really, from Denny Van.
Yes, the Tesla question.
Exactly. Denny asked, essentially, why does Nikola Tesla's work seem to, resonate so much with people on spiritual paths or healing journeys?
And it's more than just the science, right? It's about his whole approach.
Yeah, how did his way of innovating using imagination, intuition, how does that speak to us today on our own paths?
It's a brilliant question, and luckily we have a lot to work with. Tesla's own writings, his lectures, patents, even reflections.
So the mission today is to kind of dive into those sources and pull out those threads, the co-creation, the imagination, asking what if, maybe even the weirder, more philosophical stuff he got into.
Absolutely. Let's unpack that connection. Where should we start? Maybe with how different he was.
Good idea. Because to really get Tesla, you have to understand he wasn't just playing by the established rules. He was pretty radical for his time.
He really was. Think about 1888, that demonstration he did. Electric motors, but without brushes or commutators.
Which back then, everyone thought you needed, right?
Exactly. They're considered, fundamental parts of a motor. Tesla basically stepped up and said, well, what if they're not?
That's not just improving something. That's completely reimagining it.
It showed this incredible capacity to see beyond what everyone else accepted as, well, fact. A huge intuitive leap.
And it wasn't just a fluke. There was that lecture in 1891 that really shifted things, didn't it?
Oh, profoundly. That lecture to the American Institute of Electrical Engineers, it laid down a whole new way of thinking about electricity, both theory and practice.
And people are still unpacking it today.
Some aspects, yes. The implications of what he presented then, they're still rippling outwards. He was operating on a different wavelength, you might say.
It's easy to just think AC power because, well, it changed the world. But he did so much more.
So much more. The polyphase system was revolutionary, no doubt. It allowed efficient long-distance power, those powerful motors, unlike DC. But his mind was everywhere.
Like what else?
Well, he figured out ways to get DC from AC. He came up with new kinds of condensers using oil.
Oil as the dielectric, at the insulator bit.
Exactly. Helps store energy better. He worked on electrolytic meters, thermomagnetic motors, even things like anti-sparking brushes for dynamos.
Wow. Just the sheer range is incredible. It shows a mind that wasn't stuck in one lane.
Definitely not. He refused to be boxed in.
Okay, so we see the inventions, the tangible stuff. But where did these breakthrough ideas start? This is where that imagination piece comes in, right?
It has to be. I mean, think about visualizing something as complex as a polyphase motor system before building it.
Yeah, those diagrams of his early setups, they're intricate.
Incredibly intricate. It suggests he wasn't just calculating step by step. He seemed to see the whole system fully formed in his mind's eye, a complete working vision.
That's a different way of creating, isn't it? More than just logic.
Much more. It feels like a powerful blend of intellect, imagination, and, yes, intuition.
And you can sort of see the parallel there, can't you? For someone maybe on a healing path, trying to visualize a positive outcome, or understand how different parts of their life connect.
That's a really insightful connection, and it fits with his other work, too, like his experiments with high-frequency, high-potential currents.
Right, the really high-voltage stuff.
Yeah, and those experiments often led to things he maybe didn't fully expect. Weird glows in vacuum tubes, strange heating effects.
So he was okay with the unexpected.
He seemed to embrace it. He followed where his intuition and the experiments led, even if it went off the standard map. That openness to discovery is key.
Which brings us nicely to the what-if questions. Making connections that maybe seemed counterintuitive.
Oh, absolutely central to him. He wasn't hemmed in by how things are done. You see it in those experiments that seem to defy logic at the time.
Like the vacuum tube thing, where it glowed brighter with a better vacuum.
Exactly. You'd think less air, less resistance, maybe less glow. But he observed the opposite.
So he didn't just dismiss it because it didn't fit?
No, he explored it. And then there's the really big what-if: transmitting energy, transmitting intelligence through the Earth itself.
Okay, that still sounds pretty science fiction even now. Back then.
Wildly speculative, borderline fantasy to many. But it came from him asking, what if the Earth itself could be a conductor? He saw weird electrical effects, impedance phenomena, light effects at high frequencies.
And he dared to connect those dots.
Yeah.
To think the planet could be a wire.
He did. It took this immense imaginative leap, a real visionary quality, to even propose it. connecting things others would just ignore or call anomalies.
He wasn't afraid of ideas that didn't fit the box.
Not at all, which I think flows naturally into his more philosophical side. He wasn't just building things.
Right, he was thinking about things deeply.
Very deeply. Like, what even is electricity? Is it a substance, a thing, or is it more like a condition, a
Yeah.
form of energy?
That's a pretty fundamental question. Not just how to use it, but what it is.
Precisely. It shows this deeper engagement. He wasn't just an engineer, he was wrestling with the nature of reality.
And he thought about our own limits, too, didn't he? Our senses.
Yes, he reflected quite a bit on how limited our human senses are and how technology could be like an extension, allowing us to perceive things we normally can't, like different forms of light or energy.
So technology is a way to expand our awareness of the universe.
Kind of, yeah. Not just gadgets, but tools to see more, understand more.
Did he have specific ideas about fundamental forces? You hear bits and pieces.
He did. He apparently thought the electrostatic force was incredibly important, maybe more so than others emphasized at the time.
Interesting. Again, his own path.
Always his own path, which ties back to the wireless energy idea too, right? Sending it through rarefied gases through the upper atmosphere, maybe.
Still sounds pretty out there.
It was highly speculative, but it came from his observations and this almost philosophical belief in interconnectedness. He had this vision of energy being freely available without wires.
A very grand vision. Utopian, almost.
Driven by science, but also by this bigger picture thinking. And he looks small, too, right? At atoms and molecules.
Yeah, how did they behave under these intense conditions he created?
Exactly. His notes on how matter reacted in vacuums with high-frequency currents, it suggests he was probing the very fundamentals, not just manipulating bulk electricity, but asking questions about the basic structure of reality.
Okay, so let's loop back to Deni's question. For someone on that spiritual or healing journey, what's the takeaway? Why Tesla?
Well, the parallel is quite striking, isn't it? His reliance on imagination, on intuition as like primary tools, that mirrors so much of what's emphasized in personal growth or healing work, right? Inner guidance, visualization, trusting that gut feeling.
Yeah, trusting your inner knowing.
And his constant what if, his willingness to explore beyond logic. That lines up perfectly with breaking free from old patterns, limiting beliefs, opening up to new ways of healing.
It's like his science was its own kind of exploration of the unseen, the potential beyond what we normally perceive.
I think that's a great way to put it. He was trying to understand hidden forces, these subtle energies of electricity. And isn't that similar to a healing journey? Exploring subtle energies within yourself, the connections between mind, body, spirit.
So his example encourages us to, what? Trust our own inner vision.
Trust the inner vision, trust the intuition, and be open to connections that might not seem logical at first. Seeing maybe the links between different parts of your life or your health in a new light.
So it's really not just the inventions themselves, it's the mindset.
Exactly. The profound curiosity, the relentless imagination, the courage to dream big even when it seemed impossible. That's the legacy.
That mindset, it applies anywhere. Science, art, personal life.
Absolutely. True innovation, true growth often comes from that same place. Curiosity, imagination, and asking, what if?
Wow. This has
Yeah.
been, quite the deep dive. It really sheds light on why Tesla continues to fascinate people from so many different walks of life.
It shows how those lines we draw between science, imagination, spirituality, maybe they're not as solid as we think.
Very true. So for you listening, what sparks did this ignite? How does Tesla's way of thinking resonate with your path, your discoveries, your healing?
We'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely leave your comments. We're really curious to hear your perspectives on this one.